Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting us today. As you may know, we are all gathered here to commemorate the East Turkestan Independence Republics which took place in 1933 and 1944. This day marks the time when Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Uzbeks and other Turkic peoples declared independence and established the East Turkestan Republic. East Turkestan has been fighting the Chinese invaders continuously since 1949, and they have both won and lost several battles. When the East Turkestan Republic was first established in November 12, 1933, the Soviet Union was threatened, so they assisted China in invading East Turkestan. The people of East Turkestan wouldn't submit to this, so they reinstated the republic in 1944, exactly 10 years after the first one had been established. However, the Soviet Union aided China again, and 6 years later, the Second East Turkestan Republic was demolished. Ever since that day, Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Uzbeks, and other Turkic peoples have tried to take back their homeland, but to no avail. Nevertheless, they will never give up and will always deny communist China and its regime. The independence desire of the people of East Turkestan is eternal, so we will continue to fight back for our country that has only ever been ours. We are gathered here today to express the eternity of our desire to regain our independence and to commemorate and remember our states established in 1933 and 1944. I now invite Ghulam Osman, the President of East Turkestan Government in Exile, to give a speech in the Uyghur language about the importance of this day and to call the international community to support East Turkestan's independence restoration. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum Şarkı Türkistan halkı. Assalamu alaikum muhaciretteki barlık aziz qarindoshlar. Hammamizning hamma vaqtimiz xayrli bo'lsin. Qarindoshlar, bugun 22-yil 11-oyning 12-kuni. Şarkı Türkistan tarixidagi eng ahamiyatli va iftixorlanarli kunlarning biri. Chunki 78 yil burun naq bugungi kunda vatanimiz Şarkı Türkistan Xitoy tajovuzchilari ishg'oliyatidan qutulib, mustaqilligini asliga keltirgan kun. Biz bu kunni mangu eslaymiz va seg'inamiz. Aziz Şarkı Türkistan xalqi, biz bu inqilobiy kunlarimizni har yili dunyoning hamma yerida xotirlab kelyapmiz. Ammo bugunni xotirlash va bugunni aslash hammadan muhim. Chunki bugun Şarkı Türkistanning mustaqillik kuni. Çünkü bugün Şarkı Türkistan düşman işgaliyetinden azat kılınan gün. Bu günü aslash ve seginish orqali kahraman ecdatlarımızga varislik qildiganligimizni bütün dünyaya e'lon qilamiz. Shundaqli Şarkı Türkistanning Xitoy tajovuzchilari tarafidan besib olingan ve ishg'ol qilingan bir davlat ekanligini xalqaroga e'lon qilamiz va xalqarodan Şarkı Türkistanning besib olingan bir davlat ekanligini e'tirof qilishni talab qilamiz. Biz da'vogar sifatida ve haqqar salohiyatida bu haqiqatni xalqaroga e'lon qilmasak, o'z da'voyimizga xiyonat qilgan bo'lamiz. Şarkı Türkistan haqidagi bu haqiqatni oshkor qilmasak va bu haqda to'g'ri guvohlik bermasak, davlat va millatni sotgan bo'lamiz. Qarindoshlar, Xitoy tajovuzchilari vatanimiz Şarkı Türkistanga tajovuz qilib qo'ygan kundan tortib, Şarkı Türkistan xalqiga chidag'isiz zulmlarni qilib kelmoqda. Fırsat tapsılı Şarkı Türkistan halkını katliam qilib kelmoqda, siyasi rahbarlarimizni o'ltirib, o'rniga Uyg'ur siman Xitoy ruhluq jonivorlarni tiklab qo'ymoqda. Yana ansavisi yuqori diniy zotlarimizni, ziyolilarimizni, boylarimizni va san'atchilarimizni, shundaqla xalqimiz ichidagi har sinfdan kerakli insonlarimizni har turli tuhmatlar bilan qorlab o'ltirib kelmoqda. Bu orqali xalqimiz orasida qo'rqinch paydo qilib, bir tarafdan o'ltirib, yana bir tarafdan aldab xalqimizning yuragini mujib, Xitoylar xos diktatorlik tuzumi bilan xalqimizning vijdon azobini bo'g'ib kelmoqda. Mushundaq qiyin sharoitlarda milliy qahramonlarimiz Şundaqla qadirlik şəhidlərimiz Şərq Türkistan xalqiga rahbarlik qilib, Şərq Türkistanның hamma yerida Xitoy tajovuzchilarining zulmüne karşı her xil yollar bilan inqilab hareketi başlatıb geldi. Afsuski bu haqqani hareketler Xitoy tajovuzchilari tarafidan qanlıq bastırılıp geldi. Ve Xitoy tajovuzchilari o'zining ne kadar zalim ve qonxo'r ekanligini isbotlab geldi. Haqqani namoyishchilarimizning fikrlarini ve arz shikoyatlarini anglashning o'rniga namoyishchilarimizni vaqtinchalik o'ltirib geldi. Hatta bu hareketlerini bahane kılıp bu hareketlerge katlaşıp bakmadan 100 minlarca halkımızın katlanıp geldi. Minlarcasını turmalarga taşlap öldürüp Xitoy dövlət siyasətində allıburun planlanıp boğan ırqi qırğınçılıq siyasətini icra qilib geldi ve beguna halkımızga qarşı dövlət terrorçılığı elib bardı. Şərq Türkistan inqilabçıları Xitoy tajovuzchilari tarafından qanunsuz aldı bastırılgan bolsa mı? Şərq Türkistan xalqının oyğunuşuğu türkçülük rol oynap geldi. Şundaqla Şərq Türkistan xalqının ölmügenligini, fırsat tapsılı Xitoy tajovuzchilariga qarşı uruş qıladiganligini isbotlab berdi. Qarindoshlar, bizning bu kadar xor bo'lishimiz va irqiy qirg'inchilikka uchrashimizning asosli sababi bizning Şərq Türkistanning egasi bo'lganligimizdir va Şərq Türkistan Cumhuriyetini qo'g'dab qololmaganligimizdir. Biz hech qachon jungolik emas, bizning vatanimizni Xitoy tajovuzchilari besib olgan. Biz hayotli bo'lsak bir kuni bu haqiqat oshkorlanib ketadi va Şərq Türkistan o'z egasiga qaytib mustaqil bo'ladi. Şuna Xitoy tajovuzchilari bu haqiqat oshkor bo'lib ketishdan burun bizni tizdan yo'q qilishni planlagan. Hozir Şərq Türkistan'da davom qilayotganligi irqiy qirg'inchilik ashu shum planning ijro qilinayotganligining isbotidir. Shuning uchun biz bu haqiqatni xalqaro ochiq va qat'iy ravishda tushuntirishimiz lozim. Xitoy tajovuzchilari bu haqiqatni xalqaro ta'tir tushuntirib, Şərq Türkistanni Şinjan deb atayotdi. Şərq Türkistan Xitoyning bir partisi deb aldayotdi, xalqaro aldinib bu Xitoyning ichki ishi ekan deb o'ylab kelyotdi va aralasha olmayotdi. Aralashganlarni tajovuzchilikqa va ishg'oliyatga qarshi turish nuqtasidan emas, balki inson haqlari dafsanchiliklar nuqtasidan aralashyotdi, ammo Xitoy buni e'tirof qilmay, yana bizni terrorchi, bo'lgunchi va diniy oshkun qalpoqlari bilan qaralayotdi. Shuning uchun biz Xitoyning tajovuzchi ekanligini, Şərq Türkistan xalqining Junxa millati emasligini, vatanimizning Şinjan emas Şərq Türkistan ekanligini, bizning da'voimizning kishilik huquq masalasi emas, balki tajovuzchilikka qarshi kurash ekanligini, vatanimizning mustaqilligini asliga keltirmay turib, insoniy huquqlarimizning kafolatga ega bo'la olmaydiganligini va bizning yo'q qilishimizga yo'l qo'yilsa, Xitoyning butun dunyoga baloyi ofat bo'ladiganligini tushuntirishimiz lozim. Buni qilish uchun butun Şərq Türkistan xalqi safarbar bo'lishimiz lozim va bu nuqtani xalqaro mush shaklda tushuntirish orqali ham o'zimizga ham xalqaro yordam qilishimiz lozim. Bu ishni siyosiy bidiklarga qo'yib bersak bo'lmaydi, chunki ular biz uchun emas, o'z manfaati uchun ishlaydi. Vatan masalasini bidiklarga tashlab qo'yish vatanga va millatga xoinlik hisoblanadi. Xitoy tajovuzchilari vatanimizni ishg'ol qilgan chog'da, ya'ni 73 yil burun bugungi kunda davlatimizning ismi Şərq Türkistan edi. Xitoy tajovuzchilari Şərq Türkistan Cumhuriyetini ishg'ol qildi. Bu jinoyatni sodir qilgan jinoyatchi Xitoy Xalq Cumhuriyetidir. Jinoyatchi hozir kuchini butun dunyoni aldamoqda va butun dunyoga tahdid bo'lmoqda. Şərq Türkistan Cumhuriyetini ishg'ol qilgan bu jinoyatchi hozir dunyo sahnasida bor. Jinoyatchi aniq, dalil isboti to'liq. Bu jinoyatning Şərq Türkistan xalqiga elib kelgan ziyni echinishlik. Shundaqla dunyoga elib kelgan ziyni g'ir. Biz xalqarodan Xitoydan iborat shu jinoyatchining jazolanishini talab qilamiz ve biz şu besivelingan Şərq Türkistan dövlətini əslik keltirimiz ve şu dövlətimizin davasını qılavatımız. Şərq Türkistan'ın müstaqilliği əslik keltirilse, yalğız Şərq Türkistan xalqı emas, bütün dünya xalqı Xitayning işğaliyetini qutluq qılıdı. Şunun için biz bütün dünya xalqının Şərq Türkistan'ın müstaqilliğini əslik keltirişimizge yardım qilishini talab qılımız. Qarindoshlar, yolumuz uzun, yükümüz ağır, atlar o'ruq ve xorjullar quruq. Ama bu yol bek ulug'. Afsuski bu yolni basmay çaremiz yok. Çünkü bu yolda menish insanlık burchimiz, axloqiy burchimiz, imoniy burchimiz ve İslami burchimizdir. Bu yolda mağmısak insanlığımızdan, ahlakımızdan, mümin ve musulmanlığımızdan vazgeçken bulumuz. Şunun için vazifemizni unutmaylı. Uxlavermeyli, hareket eteyli. Çünkü bu hayatta şundak bir kanuniyet var ki arzu kıygan neslimizni qo'lga keltirish uchun onun yolunu özümüz mağmasak hiç kaçan o özlüküdün qo'lga kelmeydi ve yıkılmagan balığa emçek selinmeydi. Yani bu hayatta şundak bir kanuniyet var ki kadem basmagan kişi joyida turaveradi. Şunun için yolumuzga kadem basaylı, arzuyumuzga yetiş için yol mangaylı, bu ahmiyetlik vazifini hatırlaylı. Merhum şehitlerimizden örnek alaylı, ecdadımızga igi çıkaylı, kahramanlarımızga igi çıkaylı. Xitay tecavüzçüleri belgilep bergen kahramanlığa emas, öz vicdanımız ve öz aklımız belgilegen kahramanlığa igi çıkaylı. Bizning işim başımızga kelgan bütün balay afetlerinin kelish sebebi vatanimiz Sharq Turkistonning Xitoy tajovuzchilarining ishg'oli ostida bo'lib kelishidir. Bu sebepten Sharq Turkiston mustaqilligini asliga keltirish hammamizning ustiga farzdir. İgimiz Allah'ni razı qila olishimizmi bununla bog'liq. Rasulullahga ümmet bo'lib shafaatiga erisha olishimizmi bununla bog'liq. Bu dünyada insandek yaşay olishimizmi ve insandek yüzümüzü kötürüp yürüyüşümüzü bununla bağlıyıq. Qarindoshlar, biz Sharq Turkiston xalqi Sharq Turkistonga chiqayli. Sharq Turkiston mustaqilchilariga chiqayli. Ko'rinishda Uyg'ur da'vogarlari ko'rinib, mohiyatda Sharq Turkiston masalasini Xitoyning ichki ishi qilib ko'rsatishga material to'playdigan Uyg'urlarga bir xil, chet elliklarga boshqa bir xil so'zlaydigan Uyg'ursimon viruslardan uzoq turayli. Örnek eliş için bizge Resulullah ve Resulullah'ın izbasarları yetip aşıdı. Eğiş için mi şu izbasarlar yetip aşıdı. Sabit damollarından, Abdülkadir damollarından, İlhan Tören'den, Zeyd'in Yusuf'lardan ve başka bütün şehitlerimizden örnek alaylı. İnkılapçılarımızı, kahramanlarımızı ve milli rahberlerimizi kadirleyli. Vafadar bulaylı, sadık bulaylı, fidakar bulaylı, uşar bulaylı. Allah'tan mağfiret ve faraset dileyli, iman ve hidayet dileyli. İgimiz Allah halkımızın Xitay virusunun ve Xitay tecavüzçülerinin bütün suikastını saklasın. Halkımızga azatlık ve Sharq Turkiston'da müstakillik ata kılsın. Ve bizni ikkili alemde aziz ve baxtli kılsın. Amin. Ko'pchilik rahmat.
Thank you. I now invite Rashida Noor to translate the speech. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. East Turkestan regained its independence 89 years ago today on November 12, 1933, guided by the spirit of anti-colonialism, reform, modernization, and national awakening. Since November 12, 1933, the people of East Turkestan have celebrated this day as East Turkestan's National Independence Day. The modern history of East Turkestan has been mostly turbulent and tragic. East Turkestan is located on the eastern side of historic Greater Turkestan, which was divided by the Pamir Plateau following Russia's 19th century conquest of Central Asia. Western Turkestan was invaded and occupied by the Tsar Russians, while East Turkestan was invaded and occupied by the Manchu Empire. East Turkestan's people have consistently refused to submit to foreign occupation and colonial rule since the initial Manchu and later Chinese invasions. They have declared their independence 3 times in the last 158 years. On November 12, 1933, tens of thousands of people from all walks of life, both young and old, gathered along the banks of the Tuman River in Kashgar. Following the 36-gun salute, Mehmet Ali Tawfiq's Salvation March was introduced and sung as the new republic's national anthem. It was followed by a speech by Prime Minister Sabit Damullah Abdulbaki, who officially established the East Turkestan Republic. In our history, the East Turkic Republic was the first modern constitutional independent state to permanently define our national flag, national emblem, and national anthem as symbols of that unforgettable day. Although the first East Turkestan Republic was short-lived, falling to Soviet and Chinese invasion on April 16, 1934, it left behind the most important evidence, symbols, and vision for our ongoing struggle to reclaim our national independence. It fueled our determination to reclaim our independence and sovereignty. It made patriotism the focal point of our lives. As a result, it inspired our people to rise again in 1944. The determination to reestablish our sovereign state grew, and the Second National Liberation Movement established a strong foothold in East Turkestan's northern region. The Armed National Liberation Movement ended Chinese occupation and colonial rule in the three northwestern provinces of East Turkestan in 1944. The National Liberation Movement was successful in quickly liberating Rulja on November 7, 1944. However, in order to honor the first East Turkestan Republic and the spirit of its founding fathers and martyrs, the leader of the Second East Turkestan National Liberation Movement and the people of East Turkestan decided to postpone redeclaring East Turkestan's independence until November 12, 1944. As a result, the Second East Turkestan Republic succeeded and carried on the work of the First East Turkestan Republic. Unfortunately, East Turkestan became a victim of the great powers redistributing national territories, political realms, and influences following World War II. As a result, the former USSR shamelessly sold East Turkestan to China. After the East Turkestan Republic's leadership was assassinated in late 1949 in a tragic event described by historians as a mysterious plane crash, East Turkestan was invaded by the newly established People's Republic of China on October 12, 1949, and our sovereign state was invaded and forcibly overthrown on December 22, 1949. East Turkestan has been facing an ongoing campaign of colonization, genocide, and occupation for the past 73 years since the day our sovereignty was violated by Chinese invaders. East Turkestan's people have persistently resisted Chinese occupation and fought for national independence for the past 73 years. Millions of Uyghurs, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic peoples have died as a result of Chinese occupation over the last 7 decades. Since 2014, the Chinese government has waged a genocide campaign that has resulted in the mass internment and enslavement of millions of Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic peoples who have been subjected to forced indoctrination, torture, forced slave labor, forced medication, organ harvesting, and even summary executions. Over 850,000 Uyghurs and other Turkic children were separated from their families and sent to state-run orphanages and boarding schools, while hundreds of thousands of East Turkestani women were sterilized. At the same time, the racist Chinese government and its occupation forces subjected hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of East Turkestani women to rape and other forms of sexual violence. Tens of thousands of East Turkestani women were forced to marry Chinese men as part of the racist Chinese government's plan to annihilate our nation. Under the UN Genocide Convention, all atrocities and heinous crimes committed by the Chinese government and its occupation forces are classified as genocide. As a result, many Western nations, including the US government and many European parliaments,
have officially recognized and condemned China's ongoing genocide against Uyghurs, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic peoples. However, Muslim countries, particularly Turkic countries, have long ignored China's ongoing genocide and colonialism in East Turkestan. Some Muslim countries have been treasonously complicit in the ongoing genocide against Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples in East Turkestan. These countries have sold not only their faith, but also their conscience. Despite numerous condemnations, recognitions, and low-level sanctions, China continues its colonization, genocide, and occupation of East Turkestan with complete impunity. For the past 100 days, the Chinese government has been starving Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples under the guise of COVID lockdowns. In addition to the thousands of existing concentration camps and prisons throughout East Turkestan, the Chinese government has rapidly built hundreds of massive camps, each housing thousands of so-called quarantine cells in recent months. It's obvious that life under Chinese occupation in today's East Turkestan guarantees subjugation and eventual eradication. This tragic reality is no longer a hidden agenda, as China publicly pursues its racist goal of Chinese national rejuvenation at the expense of colonized and occupied nations such as East Turkestan, Tibet, and Southern Mongolia. Despite ongoing genocide, colonization, and occupation, East Turkestan's people are more determined than ever to re-establish our national sovereignty and independent state. Every year on this day, we are inspired by the spirit of the martyrs to continue fighting for our country's independence, never giving up or bowing to our enemy. China's ongoing campaign of colonization, genocide, and occupation in East Turkestan for the past 73 years has demonstrated that restoring East Turkestan's independence and sovereignty is critical to ensuring democracy, human rights, freedom, and the survival of Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples in East Turkestan. With the G20 summit taking place this week, we urge democratic leaders who value human rights and respect all nations' democratic national aspirations and external self-determination to condemn and act against China's ongoing colonization and genocide in occupied East Turkestan. We call on President Joe Biden to lead the free world in making it clear to Xi and the racist Chinese government that the free world will no longer tolerate China's colonization and genocide. We plead with world leaders to uphold their commitments to never again and the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. We call on the international community to intervene and end China's 21st century Holocaust, like genocide in East Turkestan, before it's too late. We once again appeal to the international community to recognize East Turkestan as an occupied country and to support East Turkestan's just struggle for national independence and existence. Thank you very much.
Abdul Ahad Noor, I would also like to make a speech. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. On behalf of the captive people of occupied East Turkestan, we are here to commemorate the Independence Day of the East Turkestan Republic. Thank you for being here today to support us against the genocide and elimination of the Uyghurs of occupied East Turkestan. We appreciate your efforts to help us and this cruel injustice. As we all know, the people of East Turkestan have been fighting against the Chinese invaders for 73 years, and during this time, we have won the war many times. Uyghurs lastly established the East Turkestan Islamic Republic on November 12, 1933. The Soviet Union was disturbed by this independence and helped China and handed it over to the Chinese occupation. The people of East Turkestan, who did not submit to this, fought again and won the war once more. They established the East Turkestan Republic on 12th of November 1944. The Soviet Union helped Communist China again and handed over East Turkestan to China in 1949. When the Republic of East Turkestan was established, the People's Republic of China was not established yet. The People's Republic of China is a liar and criminal regime. East Turkestan has never been part of China in the history and never will be. The people of East Turkestan have no similarities and affinities with the Chinese invaders, so the Chinese rule is illegal in East Turkestan. It is a form of power. The independence desire of the people of East Turkestan is eternal, because it has never died out and never will. The Chinese invaders are lying and claiming that East Turkestan is a part of China and deceiving the world, even our core religionists, with the deceit of economic aid. So we, the people of East Turkestan, are here to decipher this deceptive lie of China, to make awareness about the ongoing genocide in East Turkestan, to express the eternity of our desire to regain our independence, and to commemorate and remind our states established in 1933 and 1944, and to call international community to help us to stop the ongoing genocide in occupied East Turkestan. For 73 years, since the occupation of East Turkestan in late 1949, China has been engaging in a brutal campaign of colonization and genocide in East Turkestan. In recent years, since the arrival of Chinese tyrant Chen Changgu to occupy East Turkestan, at least 8 million Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Uzbeks, Tatars, and other Turkic peoples in East Turkestan have been sent to concentration camps, prisons, and labor camps. Hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs and other Turkic people are forced into slave labor, and tens of thousands are being killed for their organs as part of China's campaign of organ harvesting. Over millions of Uyghur and other Turkic children have been forcibly separated from their families and sent to state-run orphanages and boarding schools to be raised as loyal Chinese citizens. Tens of thousands of Uyghur and other Turkic women have been forcibly married to Chinese men, while hundreds of thousands of other Uyghurs have been sterilized by the Chinese government against their own will. Over 3.7 million Uyghur and other Turkic babies have been forcibly aborted by the Chinese government as part of its policy and genocide. Furthermore, 46 Chinese nuclear tests have directly affected anywhere from 190,000 to 750,000 people in the region and left millions with cancerous diseases as a result of prolonged exposure to radiation. There is no doubt that what China is doing in East Turkestan is genocide. In 2020, the East Turkestan government in exile and the East Turkestan National Awakening Movement filed a formal complaint urging the International Criminal Court to investigate and prosecute Chinese officials for genocide and other crimes against humanity. We call on governments across the world to support this effort. We call on member states of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, like Canada, Australia, France, India, Japan, the US, UK, and others to file a parallel complaint to the ICJ and work to hold Canada and China accountable. The UN and governments across the world must uphold its commitment to never again and oppose the evil Chinese regime that is holding over 8 million people in concentration camps and engaging in genocide in the 21st century. We urge the UN and governments across the world to officially recognize China's atrocities and crimes against humanity as a genocide, while also recognizing East Turkestan as an occupied country. The UN and all countries in the world must take action through sanctions and other means to stop China's genocide in occupied East Turkestan. We call upon all people worldwide to continue engaging in a peaceful campaign against China by educating others about the genocide and other crimes against humanity being perpetrated against occupied East Turkestan's oppressed people. We urge all countries to boycott, divest, and sanction China to help East Turkestan and its people regain their freedom and independence. For us, restoring East Turkestan's independence is the only way to guarantee and ensure the freedoms, human rights, and very existence of Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples. We ask you to join us and help bring justice and peace by ending China's prolonged campaign of colonization, genocide, and occupation in East Turkestan. Thank you. Now we're going to do the chants. I invite Kuresh to come and do the chant for us.
Come on, big boy.
Alright. Let's do it.
Let's
How you song?
let's do it.
Twice. Start again. Stand up.
Stand up against China's genocide. Stand up against China's genocide. Stand up for East Turkestan. Stand up for East Turkestan. Stand up for the Uyghurs. Stand up for the Uyghurs. Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Kazakhs.
China, stop killing Kazakhs.
Stop. China, stop killing Kazakhs.
China, stop killing Kazakhs.
I think it was Kazakhs. China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, end the occupation.
China, end the occupation.
China, end the occupation.
China, end the occupation.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
I am inviting Oğuzhan, Khalid,
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
China stop the genocide.
China stop the genocide.
China stop the genocide.
China stop the genocide.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China shut down the concentration camps.
China shut down the concentration camps.
China shut down the concentration camps.
China shut down the concentration camps.
China end the occupation.
China end the occupation.
China end the occupation.
China end the occupation.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want
Freedom for Uyghurs. Freedom for Uyghurs.
freedom for Uyghurs.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Stand up against these circus. Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
China stop the genocide.
China stop the genocide.
China stop the genocide.
China stop the genocide.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Uyghurs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China stop killing Kazakhs.
China shut down the concentration camps.
China shut down the concentration camps.
China shut down the concentration camps. China end the occupation.
And the occupation.
China end the occupation.
China and the occupation.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Independence for East Turkestan.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up against China's genocide.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for East Turkestan.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Stand up for the Uyghurs.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Boycott China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Sanction China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Terrorist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Fascist China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
Nazi China.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop the genocide.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Uyghurs.
China, stop killing Kazakhs.
China, stop killing Kazakhs.
China, stop killing Kazakhs.
China, stop killing Kazakhs.
China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, shut down the concentration camps.
China, end the occupation.
China, end the occupation.
China, end the occupation.
China, end the occupation.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
Go home, China.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
China, get out of East Turkestan.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
We want freedom.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
Freedom for Uyghurs.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
We want independence.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us stop the genocide.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.
Help us end the occupation.